All right, there we testing 1 2, testing 1 2 1 2. All right, welcome to RCAM. I'm your host Ryan, and thank you for tuning in today. It's been a rough month. But we are back, and we're just gonna dive right into things. So I don't want to start this stream off, pretending like nothing ever happened. My last stream I talked in depth about my brother and his passing. So if you kind of want to know where I've been, watch that stream. We did lay him to rest this past Sunday, and um, that was difficult, but we got through it. I got through it, and now I'm just trying to move forward and keep myself busy. And these streams definitely help do that. So that's what we are going to do, so that I'm not here ruminating in my thoughts. And I'm doing something to keep myself busy. I do appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate the support. A lot of you did reach out to me and extend your condolences, and that's not lost on me. It means a lot. And I appreciate it. I do just want to say, like, I still find myself kind of, overwhelmed by the amount of support that I got through all of this. Tons of people reaching out to me, um, basically, telling me I can reach out to them if I need anything, and that alone means something. And then just seeing financial support come through for my brother was really awesome. And seeing the turnout for the actual burial service itself was really encouraging. So that's definitely refreshing and definitely welcome, and I appreciate it. So again, thank you guys for your support. I'm gonna just try to, not go into a whole lot of detail about this. Not that I'm not gonna talk about it again, but it's still something I'm processing, and I'll probably be processing the rest of my life. um, and yeah, it's definitely something that still doesn't feel real to me. And again, I don't know what the right way to grieve even looks like. I really don't. But we are going to shift gears and just kind of talk about some of the stuff that's happened the past couple of weeks. There's been a lot going on, and I missed the whole burrito discourse. I wanted to comment on that. I saw a clip going around of Gambit and Rogue reading the Bible, so I thought that was cool. Nice change of pace from Disney. We also got some churches acting wild that I want to talk about. They like Spider-Man a little too much, so we're going to discuss that and how it kind of trends in the direction of idolatry, where I think is idolatry. It's not trending in the direction of idolatry. It is idolatry. So we'll discuss that. We'll also discuss the D23, Disney's D23 event, where they announced a lot of their releases planned for the next couple of years. and the tragic death of Hayden Panettiere. That's really sad. Um, and obviously, as somebody that's kind of going through the thick of it, my heart goes out to that family. So we'll discuss all that and more today on RCAM. If you like this stream, please like, share, subscribe, do all those things. That helps me out a great deal. And we're just going to dive right in. So, this first story is one that I actually think is really cool. So, this image was making the rounds on the social medias. Oh man, I gotta adjust my stuff. I have this all my scenes are messed up. Give me a second here. Let me fix this real quick. Oh, that's awkward. All right. Let's, there we go. All right, we'll just do that. All right, we're good. Actually, let me fix one light because it's just gonna bother me. What the? All right, that's better. Yeah, I realize I actually still don't even have everything completely set up from when I went to the Rumble Creator House. So I'm a mess here, guys. So it is gonna take me a minute to just kind of get back in the swing of things. So let's just keep this casual, relaxed, low pressure, and just kind of cover some of this stuff. All right. So I saw this image making the rounds, and I thought it was. Hold on a second. This is bothering me too. There we go. I thought it was refreshing. I thought there's no way this is true. Is do we really have Gambit reading the Bible? Like what? Gambit and Rogue are reading the Bible in a modern Disney cartoon? Like, say it ain't so. This is no way. No way. So I did actually see the clip they pulled this from, and I gotta say it's kind of cool. So we'll play this real quick and we'll discuss.
What is
All right. Hold on. Let's and let me know if that volume is good for you guys.
it, yeah?
To save you, there needed to be a sacrifice.
Who are you to challenge the sacrifice she has made?
Not to challenge it, but to complete it.
Your life for hers?
I know they will grieve. But I also believe, with time, my memory will be a seed from which new ones will grow. Each day, a new blessing to share with one another. Learn from one another. And to build a better future with the hearts that they inspire. Together, as they were always meant to be.
How can you be so certain your end will bring forth all this life?
Because I have faith.
Really something else, man. Now this is not actually new. Obviously Nightcrawler has always been a Christian, and he's always been somebody that has faith. I have no idea what you're streaming. but have a like. Oh, thanks, Crunk. I appreciate it, man. And I'm streaming about X-Men actually positively depicting Christianity, which is actually not a new thing for them. All right. There was an arc in the original X-Men animated series where it actually features Wolverine having a coming to faith moment, which I think is awesome. And it's just something that you don't really see in cartoons anymore. And I think that's really refreshing, and it's really awesome to see them not abandon that and actually stay true to Nightcrawler's Christian roots. I like that, and to actually hear him talk about faith and actually depict the Bible being read, um, in an animated show. This in modern times. That's actually a scandal, all right? That they're actually positively depicting Christianity for once. I think that is honestly it's shocking to me. It's shocking to me. So I think that's really cool. And there are a handful of comic book characters that are Daredevil is, famously Christian, and I think that's really cool. It was more common back then because people acknowledge Christianity without being critical or hateful toward it. Yeah, and that's the thing too is like every time you see Christianity depicted in modern media, it's always negative. Like Christians are always kind of the butt of the joke, or they're depicted as being hateful and bigoted and intolerant, and in ways that I think try to turn people away from the faith. And I remember too growing up, my as I grew up as an atheist, so my picture in my mind of Christianity was really negative, and I hated Christians. And you want to know the truth? I don't even know why. I don't even know why I did. But I think back now and I think like, well, you know, certainly there was brainwashing that happened because everything I saw growing up uh in television negatively depicted Christians. And I associated Christianity with like the Westboro Baptist Church. That was the only picture of Christianity that was in my mind. I saw no other picture. So then when I finally meet, real Bible believing Christians that are telling me about the love of Christ and telling me, that I can have redemption and telling me about the gospel, I mean, that really resonated with me and kind of cut through all that darkness. So yeah, most, that I think most people kind of growing up as a millennial probably had that very same mindset. Atheists tend to be very vulcanized toward anyone that disagrees with them. Yeah. And that was me, man. I was arguing Christians left and right, bro. You know, um, yeah, I would, pick fights with Christians for sport. And, yeah, I mean, I was, in the end, the fool, and God definitely, humbled me. But this is the I'm going to show you guys a clip of the original X-Men series that actually, depicts Wolverine ultimately coming to faith, which I think is cool. I might skip ahead of this a little bit.
No, he's right. So all people are flawed and all struggle with their capacity for sin. None likes to be reminded of our shared human weakness.
Isn't that crazy that they're actually talking about they actually said the word sin in a animated series? Like that is crazy. That is wild to me.
My appearance does not make it easy.
Don't it make you crazy?
It did once, but then I found peace by devoting my life to God. He directed me to this place where they value the character of my heart, not my appearance.
What are you talking about? We're mutants. God gave up on us a long time ago.
No, my friend. God does not give up on his children, human or mutant. He is there for us in our times of joy and to help us when we are in pain, if we let him.
Don't give me that easy answer garbage. I've tried. Don't you think I want that? I don't need a sermon from some circus boy preacher.
Looks like you touched a nerve.
I am
That is awesome. So then you have this scene over here.
What I say?
What if he's right? What if there is nothing else?
I will give thanks to you, O Lord, for though you were angry with me, your anger turned away and you comforted me. I will trust and will not be afraid.
Like, that is awesome. Like, come on, that is sick. All right. Yeah, the guy from New Orleans doesn't want to hear about God. Yeah, that's true. Thought about a script for a movie. A guy struggling with relationship with girls turns after another man treats him normal. However, he faces more problems before finding God in a wife. That sounds interesting, man. Notice the yeah. So anyway, I thought this is great. I really like this, and obviously this is the OG X-Men, but yeah, it's like it's possible to make media that isn't lame, that doesn't disparage God, and that also shows like a very real human experience many Americans go through. Like I don't even get it from purely a financial incentive, because it's like there's an appetite and a hunger for faith-based content, or at least content that highlights faith in movies. I remember when we saw what was it, the first Avengers movies. One of the lines that got like an applause line when I went and saw it was Captain America said something about there being a god, and basically he was acknowledging that like there is a god and he's not Thor, and I thought that was awesome. I don't remember the exact line. I wish I had the clip teed up, but it was good, and it's like I wish there was more of this in media, because I do think there is an appetite for it. I do think people are hungry for this type of stuff, and I just think, yeah, give the people what they want. Like, you don't have to make every piece of content doesn't have to be nihilistic. Every piece of content doesn't have to leave people feeling jaded and leave people feeling faith is stupid. Like you don't have to do that. You can try something a little bit different that worked for a large swath of or a large period of time. That's another thing too. It's like I like watching older shows because you do see this in it. It's like I watched Little House on the Prairie, and their faith was central to who they were. And that was really cool to at least I watched the first season. I thought that was really cool to see on screen. Because it's something that is foreign in modern entertainment. I think the most recent movie to kind of touch base a little bit on faith, that wasn't like an inherently Christian movie, was Disclosure Day, which actually a lot of people said wasn't good. I enjoyed it. I thought Disclosure Day was actually entertaining. So I thought it was good, and interesting, and I guess Steven Spielberg said that, it could be earth shattering for people that have faith. It wasn't. Um, my faith was not shaken a tiny bit. I just, it was an entertaining movie. So I thought that was cool. Speaking of X-Men, it does look like uh, they are moving on from the Anna Paquin rogue. I don't know if you guys remember her. She's not a good rogue at all. And they finally cast a brand new rogue, and that's going to be Indy Navarrete. So she has officially been cast as Rogue, which is kind of spectacular for her too, because she just kind of came out of nowhere. She had one huge movie obsession that, made tons of money, and now she's being cast in X-Men. Jesus told his disciples in Matthew that if a town or person refuses to listen to their message, they should shake the dust off their feet and move on rather than force it. Yeah, 100%, man. It's like you share the gospel, and if people don't want to receive it, you keep it moving, man. It's our responsibility as Christians is to share the gospel. 2 Corinthians 9:7 notes that God values a willing heart, not actions done out of pressure or compulsion. Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, we gotta share the gospel, man. It's really important. And it's like one of those things that I just want to see more in entertainment is people having this willingness to actually, be bold enough to include, Christian themes and Christian messages in movies, where they're not beating it over your head, but they're not depicting faith in a negative way, because that's how much we actually get tired of people sharing AI. Don't get me started on that, bro. It's so lazy. It's so lazy, man. And yeah, that's a whole industry in of itself. Pastors. God, I saw once where a pastor had like an AI, uh, basically like he made an AI clone of himself to pray for people over the phone. I'm just like what a piece of garbage. It's like people come to you for prayer, and they come to you for encouragement, and they come to you when they're downtrodden, and you give them a robot with no soul that doesn't care about what they're going through. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And then you have pastors using chat GBT to write their sermons, which is, really sad. Yeah, that stuff rubs me the wrong way, and we're gonna get into this in a second because I got a lot to say about some of this stuff happening in church. But I do think ultimately, though, Indy Navarette, she does look the part. She looks like she'd be a good rogue. I think she'd be fine. But yeah, let's jump into this next topic because I do think that's like a good segue. So I saw this. They should do the same with Muslims, but not a Muslim put in a good light. Um, hmm.
And then once you've enjoyed all the fun outside,
I feel like they do typically paint Muslims in good lights. I feel like that's more common now, at least. I feel like Muslims are not as demonized in entertainment as Christians are. They're more often depicted positively than Christianity is. Crunk says anything that's owned by Disney can't be Christian. Uh, it definitely doesn't seem very plausible with the direction Disney's going. But I don't know. I saw that this earlier, and this is like a modern Disney depiction of Gambit and Rogue reading the Bible. So maybe they're actually waking up a little bit. Um, but anyway, I wanted to talk about this. All right, so this is a clip from Vantage Point Church, and they bust out Spidey and then assorted superheroes at the movie sermon series. And so at the movies is this really popular sermon series that a whole bunch of churches do because they all follow the same cookie cutter plan, to try to get seats in the door. And they will do anything short of sin to make that happen. And this is just one example of it. So we'll look at this in another clip and discuss.
Hi, my name's Spider-Man, and this is Ghost Spider. Welcome to At the Movies at Vantage Point Church. First, you can walk up this beautiful red carpet to go see the show. Every Sunday, we'll have some photo ops with some cool characters, but check out what else we have in store. Shh! You gotta stay quiet while the movie's going. As you can tell, everyone loves the free popcorn, soda, and candy that we had, so make sure you go get your own. And you can come bring the little ones in to VP Kids. Make sure they come in dressed as a character for that week, because they may just win a prize. And then once you've enjoyed all the fun outside, you can get your concessions, bring them inside the theater, and sit down with a great community to enjoy the show.
You know what was missing from that promotional? Jesus. Jesus was missing from that promotional. So it's all about enjoying a show, being entertained, and not about the gospel that changes the hearts and minds of men. Not about Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. And they've turned the church into a circus, man. What are you watching? They just had the Bible in X-Men. They made the hero of the second season a man of God. Yeah, that's cool, man. I haven't watched the X-Men 97 yet, but I kind of want to now. I went to a local mega church and it looked like a Greek temple, 3x coffee bars, all free, etc. Yeah, dude, it's getting ridiculous, dude. And that's not the only clip. There's one more I want to show you cuz it's just obnoxious. It's like if I showed this to somebody, would you think a church or Comic-Con? You tell me. Oh, look, they actually had the name God somewhere. This is crazy to me. This is absolutely crazy to me. Listen, don't get me wrong. I love Spider-Man as much as the next guy, but you've gone from appreciating a superhero to full-throated idolatry. All right? Like if you want to go experience Spider-Man, go to the movies. Go to Comic-Con, but your church should not be the movies or Comic-Con. It should be about Jesus Christ. The church is for worshiping Jesus Christ. But here, man, it's like, dude, it's like they're turning into almost like a Greek temple with worship of superheroes. It's freaking weird, bro. All right. So I took my daughter to a Comic-Con a few years ago, and there were 3 guys standing at the gate leaving that held up "Repent, you're going to hell," and yelled a lot of crap at us. Uh, uh, I mean, I don't know if that's exactly exactly the right uh avenue for that. But I think if you go to Comic-Con, fine. That's where this belongs. It does not belong in the church. That fired up the anger. We went to the trade show essentially, and these dudes were reinforcing the hatred for Christianity. Yeah, I think there's a time and place for the message of repentance. I don't know if Comic Con is where that's going to happen. um, yeah, I don't know if that's where I would go. People are there taking their families and just nerding out. But this is happening in the church. I mean, if anything, like those dudes need to go to this church and tell the church to repent. Because that's Comic Con. This is the house of God. Okay, this is where you are assembling to learn about Jesus Christ. But if I walked in there, I would not know this is a church. I would learn more about the origins of Spider-Man than I would the origins of Jesus Christ. That's a problem. That's an issue, man. And all these at the movies series are doing is conforming to the world to try to reach the people of God. Now, I do think there's an appropriate place to do this type of stuff, and it's on YouTube. All right. If you want to do like a film and theology YouTube channel, that's cool. Like that's not, like that's fine. But not where people are going to learn about the word of God, like YouTube is full of like niche things that you could do these creative things with. But not the actual church building where people are coming to learn the scriptures. Not the time or place for this. And then the people that you're getting to come in, well, are they showing up for Jesus or are they showing up because you do really cool sets? And don't get me wrong, the sets are cool. They're cool. Like there's no arguing that, but it has nothing to do with Jesus. It has nothing to do with the Bible. And what they're doing is actually um practicing idolatry. It's like you walk in there, you see statues of Spider-Man and literal like displays of spider suits. It looks like they're worshiping these characters. It's very weird, man. Very bizarre. This is the modern church model. They'll do everything short of sin to try to reach people. But they actually, it's not short of sin. They are engaging in sin to reach people. And unfortunately, what they're doing is they're leading more people astray and giving people a shallow faith that has nothing to do with the actual gospel. I mean, most people are there for the socialization. I've known numerous people that change churches to promote their careers and bragged about it. I'm 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 not understanding what you mean there. Most churches that people that change churches to promote their careers and bragged about it. Like they left the church to follow their job? Is that what you're talking about? And then bragged about leaving their church because of their career? Yeah, I do think that's really important too. Cause like one thing I wish I knew, honestly, and I wish I did a better job with when I moved down south was um moving kind of based on uh finding a good quality church to meet with, because we came down here and I just figured there'd be like all sorts of churches because it's the south, we're in the Bible Belt. But it took us a long time to find a church that was really Bible based. And then even then it's like I have like I definitely want more from my churches. Uh, and the nearest church that believes similar to me is like an hour and a half away. which is lame. No, no, no. I've known people that only go to church because it will promote their career or support their bad life. Oh, geez, yeah, it's not a good reason to go to church. But honestly, it's like if it were a solid church, I don't think I would have necessarily an issue with that because if it's a solid church, eventually they'd be confronted with their own sin. See, like a good church is going to actually regularly call people to repentance. They're going to call people to turn away from their sinful lifestyles and turn toward God. That's what a good church would do. But that's not what most churches do. They tell you how great you are and they preach a really feel good motivational message that doesn't really have anything to do with the Bible. They'll sprinkle some verses in there to wrap it in a nice little bow, but at the end of the day, it's not anything that's challenging you to grow in your relationship with God, and I think that's a huge problem. Those same churches are full of people in secret societies. Oof. Yeah. So I thought this was anyway a really bad example of uh what some churches do. And this is a whole model, by the way. This at the movies thing, it's a model of church. So it's like, I don't know if if you've been in some non-denominational churches, you may have seen this. I always thought like, oh wow, that's a weird coincidence. They're also doing an at the movie series. Like, that's crazy. But no, they're actually following a plan. So they're all on the same plan and they follow the same playbook, and even they probably have the same notes. So even though they're non-denominational, they still follow this same model that's just given to them. And they all have the same cookie cutter church. Now maybe each church will do their at the movies a little bit differently, but it's all the same. They're all on the same plan. And you can thank Craig Rochelle with Life Church for pioneering this abysmal church model. And a lot of these churches are satellite churches that do this. It's no good, man. It's no good at all. I don't like it. It really rubs me the wrong way. It really does. I just find it horrendous. All right, let's Protesia. Hey, what's going on? How are you? Cool. That should have read cool. Hey, I was covering you actually. Shout out. Shout out for exposing this. Yeah, I'm talking a lot about it, man, cuz these like yeah, Life Church is behind this and I've I don't like that they're behind this stupid model that everybody follows. Bro, we have a digital church here. I've never liked that model. Yeah, that model sucks, dude. It's really impersonal. I don't like satellite churches either. You know, I don't think it works. I think it's ineffective and impersonal and treats churches like they're fast food restaurants instead of actual uh houses of worship. Yeah, it's like you know how there's a problem in your church, right? If you can come and go in your church and nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows your name. You have no bearing in the community and they have no bearing in your life. It's a corporate way of mopping up extra money. Yeah, I agree. And the only thing they care about are raised hands and filling seats. They don't care about people's souls. They don't care about people's hearts. They don't care about people being changed by the power of the gospel. They don't care that people are uh, encountering the saving knowledge of Jesus Christ. Hey, Protesia, thanks for the comment on YouTube too, man. I appreciate that. Truly, you guys do incredible work. Like, really awesome work, so, good job. A very good job in exposing some of these charlatans, man. Because it's like, I've had enough of it, bro. I worked for a mega church too, so it's like I've seen the behind the scenes of some of this stuff and some of what they do to reach people, and it breaks my heart, man. Now consequently, I have met some people, thankfully, that got off the reservation and started a church of their own and built something intimate and something beautiful. And I really like that, so I do think a lot of people are waking up. It's not sustainable. People uh you know will start to wake up to some of this nonsense, but unfortunately not enough people, which is why we need uh pages like Protija exposing these people, and other people willing to call them out and challenge them, because I just want to see the house of God treated with reverence. Have you looked into the Ethiopian Bible? I've heard a lot about it. I haven't actually looked into it with great detail, but I heard they have some of the original books of the Bible in there, so I appreciate that. I have not heard anything Mel Gibson has said on it, but anyway, my hope ultimately though is that we just move away from this model, and we return to like small intimate churches, or at least churches that value small groups, like I don't care if there's a big corporate gathering, but as long as there's like small groups coming together that are theologically sound, I think that's good, and they actually read and study the scriptures. Protisa Protisa or Protestia. Okay, there, I could see the full thing now, it's popping up. Protestia. Protestia. Alright, there we go. I got it. I'm learning phonics. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Alright, one last comment. How are the kids, the wife, and the other family? We are, my church has 100 people with small groups led by elders. That's awesome, dude. That's how it should be. Yeah. Yeah, man. And then your elders are supposed to be, helping the pastor do the legwork so not everything falls on him. It's like that's biblical too, It's like Moses' father-in-law, gave him the instructions on how to establish leadership. And it required elders. It required people to help hold his arms up, and help him manage everything. And that's the same model the disciples follow. Jesus followed, and they established elders, and you come and you do this thing together. So that it's not all revolving around one person, but everybody is doing ministry together. And that's a really healthy model of church because it's biblical. It's biblical. And Crunk, the wife and kids, family, they're doing good. They're doing good. All things considered, man. My family, obviously pray for my family because obviously we're still reeling from the loss of my brother. My mom definitely needs all the prayer she can get, and one of my other brothers definitely needs prayer, and my sister. I definitely appreciate that. So we're trying, man. We're one day at a time. We're trying to get through this thing. I guess I did want to jump ahead because this is kind of relevant since we're on this topic. Um, Hayden Panettiere passed away. So she is best known for her role in Heroes in Nashville, and she's died at 36, which is really sad. It's really just heartbreaking to me. I'm 36 years old, so she's the same age as me. And allegedly, she may have been doing, oh, this is not true. The tweet is sensationalist, made to attract engagement. Narcan is an emergency medication. It works by blocking opioid receptors in the brain, restoring normal breathing within minutes. Yeah, I hope it didn't have to do with an opioid related death because it's just tragic. I've been moved by your recent comments on X. My sister OD'd a few years ago, and it brings it back. Yeah, dude, it's sad, bro. It's sad, and seeing this, I hope she didn't overdose, but that's kind of what it seems like to me. Especially if Narcan's involved. I used to work in supported housing, and we would have clients overdose, and they'd use Narcan to kind of bring them out of it. And I've just seen all sorts of horrible things happen, and it breaks my heart, man. And losing my brother, uh, makes this hit all the more to me. So, yeah, it's tragic, man. Young people shouldn't be losing their lives to drugs. And I'm not saying this is what happened to Hayden. There's still speculation. But if Narcan is found in her apartment, that's what my suspicions are. And she's young, man. And it's like too, this type of thing should impress on your heart to make the gospel paramount in your life. Like, it is one of the most important things in the world. Because like one moment we are here and the next moment we can be gone, or the next moment a loved one can be gone. And I don't ever want like my last moments to uh be me not having done everything I can to try to advance the gospel in the relationships in my life. I think about my brother, and that was a 13-year long struggle of sharing the gospel with him. But like the word of God does not return void, and he ultimately ended up accepting Christ toward the end of his life, and that gives me great peace. Um, and I think that's something that should challenge us to spend more time investing and praying. Too, prayer is another thing where it's like we just don't understand the degree of impact we have with our prayers. And we often underestimate the power of God at work in our prayers. Like, he hears us and he is faithful and he is just to answer us, and and move on our behalf if we are praying according to his will, man. And I know it's his will that no one perish. So it's like we got to do everything we can, in the natural to try to reach people, but also, pray and trust, trust God's hand in the lives of the people that we love. That's my prayer, man. I want to see people come to know Jesus Christ. That's like my chief aim in life. That's my chief purpose for existing, is to glorify his name in all that I do. And it's like me, I have an agenda with my streams. Yeah, whatever, out the window. If I feel, God has something else that he wants me to talk about, you know. That's the most important thing to me. And I hope someone shared the gospel with Hayden, and I hope people start waking up to just how rampant drug abuse is, man. It's everywhere. I had a guy tell me when I lived in New York. We lived in this county that was really prone to you know opioid addiction. He's like, if you don't know somebody that's been negatively affected by substance abuse, you're living under a rock. And it's like, because we all knew somebody. Everybody knew somebody. It's like these people just need the gospel, man. It's like Jesus' love just changes us, man. And turns our life around, if we're willing to repent, if we're willing to turn away from our sin and follow him with our whole heart, our whole mind, our whole soul. He'll change us. He'll give us a new heart, a hope, and a future. Anyway, that's a really sad. Crunk, I'm blessed by your conviction. Oh, thanks, man. I yeah, I'm trying to stay steadfast, bro. And it's like I just feel even more galvanized now to do whatever it is I can to try to, be a source of encouragement, for other people. Because too, it's like my life has been radically changed. Like I look at my life and like, yeah, I'm going through one of the most difficult seasons in my life, but on the same hand, I'm still profoundly blessed. Which is so weird because it's like how could you say that when you just lost your brother? But it's like I still am, it's like God is still good. And I know that he has his hand upon my life and my family, and that I know that he can ultimately take what the enemy works for evil and work it together for good. So I just have to trust him. I have to trust his plan. I have to trust what he is doing in my life. Wake up every day being blessed, and I know why, but I don't know why. Yeah, man, it's like yeah, I don't lose sight of the blessings of God in my life and his hand in my life. Even my brother, being saved toward the end of his life, that's a blessing, man. That's an answered prayer. And it's one I cannot discount because it's something that seemed impossible to me. So I'm very grateful for everything that I have, and yeah, it's like I feel more moved to try to take this ugly situation and turn it into something good. It's like I have ideas for stories of my own that I want to write and that I am writing. And it's like I believe this season of my life is going to be a part of that, and hopefully it'll be something that God can use to help somebody else. It's like now that I understand this loss, my hope is that I can help other people, as they're going through the thick of it. But also maybe I can encourage people to maybe choose a different path so that they don't meet a similar fate. So it's like you gotta do everything in your power to try to take the most bitter pill life has to give you and turn around and make something beautiful out of it. That's something that does keep me going, keeps me motivated. Man, I had so much on the docket. I'm not gonna get through half of it. Man, let's see. I'll do like maybe I'll just do one of these random ones that I have. Okay. Oh, I'll do this because this is why I don't really talk. I move away from politics. I kind of get that. I moved away from politics. This is one of the reasons. All right. So I'm old. This is old news. I'm late to this party. All right. I get it. All right. I've had a lot going on the past couple of weeks, so you'll just have to deal with it. But This guy Joel Berry, he said, last night my wife made a homemade burritos for our family of 8, and it costs less than $20 total for everyone. I'm beginning to think the affordability crisis is really I don't know how to cook crisis. And he's responding to this tweet. One of our TP USA college students gave me his take on affordability. A burrito shouldn't cost $20. Yeah, a lot of this is a hangover from COVID and Biden era inflation, but the lived experience is the same. It just feels like basic things cost too much. Yeah, and then this is obviously a quote tweet from Matt, who says grocery prices are insane. They're still rising. Addressing this problem should be the number one priority of every elected leader. End the stupid foreign wars and focus on the issues. It's one of the main reasons socialists are gaining power. Yeah, so his Joel's response to it is like basically like, oh yeah, make cheaper food. Oh, you don't say, Joel. You don't say, man. We should yeah, yes, obviously, but that doesn't change the fact that the prices like, yes, we can all live on ramen or whatever. Uh, eh, that doesn't change the fact that grocery prices in general have gone up. Like our grocery bill is crazy. And my wife, she doesn't like eating, like processed garbage. She likes eating real food, and it's just more expensive. It's just really expensive. So it's like, yes, we can make burritos and stuff on $20, sure, but we don't want to one, we're not going to eat garbage, poison, GMO food, that has all sorts of processed garbage in it. We're not doing that. But it shouldn't cost, you know, a second mortgage to eat healthy. All right. It shouldn't, and then you have, I actually agreed with Brett Cooper here on her take on this. She talked about the hypocrisy of some of these people, and some of these people truly are hypocrites.
So I sometimes have people ask me, like, why I don't talk about politics as much anymore, or why I started to feel burned out, or whatever it is. And it's because I started to feel freaking crazy because of things like this. So this was Dan Crenshaw in 2021 under Biden. America, our food prices are too high. What are you going to do about inflation? Biden admin, just be vegan and stop complaining, you bunch of rubes. But then now, 5 years later, in 2026, in light of the grocery $20 burrito affordability debate over on X right now, this is what he posts. Same guy. He says, just hearing about this dumb $20 burrito debate, so I thought I'd just make the losers on social media angry before going to bed. Stop whining and get a job. Eat ramen like the rest of us did in college, on a budget with 4 roommates. The market doesn't care what you think something should cost. Only communists care. They set prices, remember? Then everyone starves, remember? Are you a communist, or are you an American adult male capable of handling his own shit? You know what, Dan? This sounds a lot like just be vegan and shut up. Just eat ramen and shut up. Eat your slop bowl and shut up. I mean, it is so, it genuinely makes you feel like you are going crazy. Both sides are hypocritical. Both sides just chase political brownie points. Both sides are printing money like there is no tomorrow. I don't even know if there's any way that America will ever come back from that. So I'm just done.
Yeah, I agree with her. Dan might be my 8th cousin. I don't like him. Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of him either. Uh, I don't like this dismissal of people's uh genuine concerns about the cost of groceries. Like we were promised, you know, that the cost of groceries would go down. We were promised a golden age, and that's not what we're getting. We're getting wars with Iran and all this other stuff. Now, I cannot claim to be dialed in on what's going on politics because I've largely not been paying attention, but I have noticed that groceries are insane. It's insane. It is very expensive, and I don't, I make pretty good money. I make decent money. Matt Walsh makes, decent money, and he acknowledges that the cost of living is crazy, and it's like you tie in the cost of living, high interest rates on your mortgage, and it's just not tenable. It's not ideal. And people are rightly upset about it. And it's like, yeah, yeah, we can find really cheap ways to eat, but we shouldn't have to. That's the point. We shouldn't have to. My man, you have kids and want to be married to your wife. There's not time for yeah, there isn't time for politics. And I have largely stayed out of it, man. I've not been paying attention to it really at all. But the burrito thing did catch my eye because I think that's something that just transcends politics in general. Because this is something that we deal with. Like we go to the grocery store. Like I feel this, man. I feel it on my family, and it sucks. And it's like it's like you feel like a hamster on a wheel, man, or you keep running, 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 running. Making more money, but I can't get ahead, and it sucks, dude. It sucks. It's not like me and my wife are like really reckless spenders either. We're not. Yeah, something too about politics, particularly running for political office. Very early on in my life, the Lord told me not to do it, to not ever run or hold a political office. I think it's cuz, it's a corrupt game and he didn't want me to play it, And it's like, I have Jesus as a chief example where, he defied the politics of the nation from the outside. And it's like, if I'm going to have influence, if I'm going to have any impact, it's going to be from the outside. It's not going to be through the traditional political arenas. God's going to use my gifts, my talents, and my abilities to make a difference um in different avenues, and that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to use my gifts to do that. And I think one of those is going to be media, not necessarily like social media or streaming, but uh, making content and possibly movies, writing books, all those things. Trees grow. Hold on a second. Trees grow from roots, not from the top. Thanks, RCAM. You just made me realize what is what. Well, you're welcome, Krunk, and thank you, man, for your support. I appreciate it. I'm probably gonna be wrapping this stream up, y'all, but I do appreciate you guys stopping by and showing the love. I'm gonna raid somebody out, and then we're gonna call it a night. I'll save the rest for Thursday because I do got quite a bit on the docket that I don't have time to get through all of it tonight, and I want to spend time with my wife, so that's what I'm gonna go do. So let's see who we gonna raid. All right, let's see here. Zwogs. Oh, we'll do the AI Campa. He's a good guy, Christian man. And I like supporting other Christian creators. And I like supporting other Christian creators, but I don't like hearing myself. Boom. All right. Raid is confirmed. Appreciate you guys. I hope you have a very blessed night. Deuces.
One objective left. You're almost there.
Oh shit! Oh shit! We have a raid! My good friend Ryan, what's up, man? How you been? How you feeling? How's everything? How's your wife? How's the